Hello and welcome back to our Fireside Chats with Veterans programs. My name is Don Randolph and I am here with Mr. Hubert Bryant. Hubert is the oldest living veteran in White County, and I want to thank you, Hubert, for coming out to share your story with us.
Thank you.
Today. I want to begin, I always like to start, because there was life before your time in the service and life after, and of course we want to concentrate on your experiences while you were in the service. But can you tell me a little bit about what life was like for you before you went in the service and the circumstances that led to you being in the military?
Well, my folks was all coal miners. Mm-hmm. See, Bonaire was a coal town.
A big coal town at that time.
Yeah, at that time it was bigger, almost big as Sparta. Mm-hmm. And I had 5 brothers that went in the coal mines, and I had 5 brothers, or 4 brothers that went in the service.
Mm-hmm. 4 of your brothers went into the service. Did they go in prior to you?
Coal miners.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I went in the coal mines. I was working 5 miles back on the ground in West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't too good.
No, that's a hard job.
Oh, buddy, that's hard work. And I asked my brother one time, I said, I was sitting there freezing to death after you load your car, you'd sit there and while you loaded, you'd get wringing wet of sweat, and you'd sit there, and then freeze to death after that sweat got off,
Right.
And I asked him, I said, I'm going to quit. I said, I'm going to quit coal mining. He said, well, you ain't got no job. And I told him, I said, I'm going in the Army then. And he said, well, you get killed. I said, I'm dying a slow death in the mines.
So you looked different. So you joined in. You didn't get drafted. You joined because it seemed like the lesser of two evils at the time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I liked the Army as far as Army was concerned. Because see, I was in the 3 C's 3 years before I went in the Army. Long time.
CCC, the camps, is a part of
that went in 1936. When went in that. Well, I was in there 35, what it was, like 35, 36, 37.
Okay.
And I went to the West Coast, and I was up in Gatlinburg. I was up there at Gatlinburg 14 months, and Cosby 11 months. And then I went to Oregon. I went to Klamath Falls, Oregon, where I went.
So you helped put some of the construction projects that were done in the 1930s in Gatlinburg. You were there. You worked on those.
If you go up there and look at Gatlinburg, them big rocks and them bridges.
Yes.
I hauled them rocks in there for that. I hauled them from Townsville.
Okay.
It was blue granite rock.
Blue granite rock.
It was nice. Them 3 C's done good work, They done real good work.
It's still there today.
Oh yeah, yeah. You look around.
Yeah.
Look up at Crawford, what they done.
Cumberland Mountain and
made that bridge.
Yes. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's still there.
Yeah, they done good. They done real good. And that's where I learned to drive. And my superintendent, every time he'd want somebody to drive, well, he'd get me, because I was a good driver, and he knowed I was a good driver. And I put my name up going to West Coast. And I was down there one day, and just fooling around, and I went down there, which I shouldn't went down there. And he said, Hubert, what are you doing down here? I said, you supposed to be working. I said, I put my name up on the board to go to the West Coast. Oh boy, he jumped 2 foot high, I bet you. He said, I wanted you to stay here. He said, what'd you do that for? He said, I wanted you to be my driver. I said, oh, let's go to the West Coast. I said I hadn't been out there. And I was out there for a year. I drove a truck for the Navy for 3 years and a half out there for the Navy.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in the civil service.
Okay.
They give me a brand new truck and 2 guys, and all our job was pick up trash.
That's a pretty good job.
Yeah,
and you got to see a part of the country you wouldn't have got to see otherwise.
No, I wouldn't got to see it. And I stayed out there and on Terminal Island, and my brother went out there. And let me tell you something, what happened, and this wouldn't happen, I bet you, in 1,000 years. He told me, he said that his car was here, and his wife and two she was pregnant with her last son, Jimmy Bryant. You might have known him. He was a mathematician, wasn't he? What was he?
I don't know what he did.
He was a mathematician.
Okay.
At high school, and they said that he was one of the best ahead. And well, we went on out there, and it was getting pretty late when we got out there, and the bus stopped. This Army bus stopped, you know, and Earl got on it. After we were driving 3,000 miles out there.
Wow.
What about that?
Wow. So you drove out there in Oregon for 4 years.
Yeah, I drove.
And then you came back to Tennessee.
Come back to Tennessee.
And you were in the coal mines.
No.
Help me out with the timeline.
No, I bought me a truck, and I started trucking.
Okay.
And I went to Gary, Indiana, and got a load of furniture up there for $75. And that was, if you'll remember, at Lakeview store out there, Stamps had it, you know. You knowed him, didn't you?
No, I don't think I did. That might have been before my time.
Oh, you remember the store being there, though, I guess.
I think I remember where it was, yes.
Yeah, right there.
Now, did you go in the service before you went to Oregon, or right after, or?
No, I went in the service for then.
Before then, okay.
Yeah, I went in the service 1940.
Okay.
And November the 22nd.
Okay.
1940.
Where did you go to basic training?
Fort Oglethorpe.
Fort Oglethorpe, okay. And did you have some kind of technical training after your basic? Did you have some kind of school? Or
no.
What was your job?
No, I did. They put me a truck driving.
They just put you truck driving straight away?
Yeah, I went in the 6th Cavalry, and they had 300 horses, and part of that was mechanized, and part of that was horse-drawn.
Still horse-drawn at the time?
I mean horse riders, you know, soldiers rather, at that time. But I was going to, my intention, see, Earl stayed in the Army 24 years, my brother did, you know. And then I had one and was in the Army. I was in Europe, and Earl was in Australia, and Johnny was in Italy, Paul was in China, and Carl was back in the States.
Well, they had you scattered all over the world.
Oh, we were scattered everywhere, yeah.
Okay. So you went from Fort Oglethorpe straight to? No,
I went to Camp Blandon, Florida.
Camp Blandon, Florida. You went there first?
I went there after I took my basic training from Fort Oglethorpe.
Then you went to Florida? And
then I went to Florida, and then from Florida I stayed down there 6 months, and that was the best job I ever had. I had a little old truck, about 3/4 ton, to haul gas.
Okay.
You know, the cans stacked in there.
Yeah.
Just as tight as they could be, you know.
So where did you go from Florida? Where did they send you?
I went to went to South Carolina.
South Carolina?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can't think the name of where I went.
What, did you have the same job, still driving a truck?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, had the same thing.
Okay.
And that's where I went to sea over.
You went from there to overseas?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I got on the Queen Mary at Queen Elizabeth, rather, at New York Harbor, you know. And there was 20,000 soldiers on there.
On the Queen?
On that
Queen Mary.
Queen Mary, yeah. 20,000 soldiers.
So did they take you to Scotland or to England?
Well, they took us to Northern Ireland.
Okay.
They took us to Northern Ireland. I stayed there 9 months, and after that, they took us to England, and we had stayed there 3 months, and they had the invasion.
The D-Day invasion.
D-Day, and I landed on the 7th of June. I landed the next day, you know, after invasion.
You came in the 7th of June,
Yeah,
1944.
Yeah. Sure did.
So you were part of that, really the first wave, the first,
Yeah.
the tail end of the first wave, or the
No,
first end of the...
no, we was back. They'd done punched a hole in it at about, I think I said about 10 miles.
Okay. But it was very early.
Oh yeah, awful early.
So,
and they went to the hedgerows, what they call the hedgerows. These about this wide, and every man had his garden place there, you know, where he farmed, and everybody took it. And
it was hard to tell where the enemy was with all those. Where the Germans were, it's hard to tell where they were.
They'd step up
all
on
the
them.
hedgerows.
You could step up on them steps, you know, across there. He had a place you could step, you know, down on each one of them. And the Germans would put a grenade over there, boy, it'd blow your leg off, you know.
So, did you have the same job as you got into Germany or into France?
No. Excuse me. No, they gave me 12 men, and I had a M8, what you call an M8 armored cars, a 6-wheel job.
Okay.
It was pretty good size. It was a baby tank, what they called it.
But it carried troops.
Yeah.
That was okay.
And then I had a Jeep. I had 2 Jeeps and a motorcycle assigned to me, you know.
Okay.
And I had my driver and my radio operator. I had 3 radios in the car, you know, and I had my driver, radio operator, and then my gunner, see, and I was his assistant. His assistant, cause see, when he'd shoot his gun, well, I'd have to help load it, you know, and everything.
Replenish his ammunition.
Yeah.
So what was your mission as you just, did you?
A reconnaissance, go up there and find out where the enemy was at.
Okay, and then you'd radio that back?
I'd put it in code and send it back to Patton headquarters.
Okay. Do you remember any of the encounters that you had while you were doing the reconnaissance?
Yeah, a lot of times see, they was after reconnaissance all the time. See, the enemy was, they wanted to get them, because they couldn't send that code. I mean, they couldn't send it back if they didn't have no information, you know.
Right.
And it caused them to be a delay, you know, all the time.
Did you run up on? Did you have any surprises while you were doing some of these missions?
Yeah, I had several surprises. One time I remember, we come up on the railroad, and it happened to be this thing went down, you know, on the keep you from
right, one of the arms that goes where the road crosses the railroad tracks.
And it was down, And I looked over there, and there's a bunch of Germans on the other side of that, in that town. I could see them over there. If I'd have went in there, you know, they'd have got us. But we got turned around, buddy, right quick, got out of there.
And did you radio back that they were there? And
No, we didn't. We wasn't fooling with them then, but they knowed where they was at then.
Okay.
Or I'd done sent it back, you know.
Any other surprises that you can recall?
Not right off.
No. So how long did you stay in France?
6 months.
6 months? Was your job the same time in reconnaissance that whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were the circumstances? I know you accumulated points after so long. What were the circumstances that sort of brought your time overseas to a close? Did you go home after that 6 months, or what happened next?
That's when I got wounded.
That's when you got wounded.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
I got wounded in France, and it was, if you notice on your map, there's a little country called Luxembourg.
Luxembourg, yes.
You know, and France and Germany comes together. That's where I got hit at, in that town. That's the last town you go in before you go to Germany, you know. Because you can see Germany from where we was at. And it's got a big, it had a big tank ditch, what they called it. It's about 12 foot deep. And the tank gets in there, anything get in there, it couldn't get out.
How did you get hurt?
Well, we was in this town, and they said they said before we got out of our cars, they said we got to make contact with the 5th Ranger Battalion, but we never did make contact with them, because we just took that town, and then the Germans, the Germans they just took the town from the Germans.
Yes.
And they seen us in there. They seen us in there and started shelling that town.
Okay.
And that's where I got
a shell?
wounded. Yeah.
An exploding shell?
And I liked about that much. I hit my backbone, that piece of shrapnel. I got it now. And I seen it before they took it out. It liked about an inch. It hit my backbone. It'd have killed me, or I'd have been paralyzed the rest of my days. You know?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you get medevaced then, I imagine? Where did they take you next after you got wounded?
They took me and had me, took me back about 50 miles, and they had a hospital there, big building, and they had a hospital, nice hospital, and they operated on me there.
Okay. Did you get to come home after that? Did you get to come back here? You stayed over there for a while longer?
No.
Okay.
I stayed after I got over it. I stayed 2 months in a hospital recuperating for a month, and then I was in there for another month for the recuperating too. I don't know what it was. They let us stay in there 2 months, and then they put us on 70 plane loads of wounded soldiers to the hospital in England, and I stayed, I believe I stayed 2 months in the hospital, and then they put me in, excuse me, and they put me in the 8th Air Force, limited service.
Okay, but you stayed in England then, just you were in the 8th Air Force?
I went back to England, yeah.
Okay.
Till the war was over, and it was over in 6 months, you know.
Okay.
And then that's when Roosevelt died.
Right.
When the last of the war, you know, there. Yeah, I was going to stay in the Army.
So how long after the war ended did you get to come home to the United States?
6 months.
So, okay, so 6 months after the war was over, you got to.
Yeah.
Did you come back on a ship or a plane? Or?
No, I got the same ship at the Firth of Clyde there.
Okay.
Where you could look out and see Scotland. You could see Northern Ireland. Firth of Clyde there and England. And let's see, Scotland, or England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and I reckon that's all. Well, England, you know.
So when you got back to the United States, when you finally made it back, how much longer before you were discharged?
Well, I'd got discharged before I come out.
Oh, okay. So did you come back to Sparta then?
I come back to Sparta and bought me a truck and started hauling.
Okay.
I was a trucker, long haul trucker.
So you live in Bon Air to this day?
Yeah, I lived in Bon Air all my life, you know.
But what was life like whenever you got back, when you were driving truck after you got out of the service?
Well, I just barely made a living, as far as that goes. Because it's hard to make a living, you know, then. Well, it is now, as far as that goes, but it ain't hard as it was back then. Because back then, buddy, $1 was $1.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Mr. Bryant, I want to thank you very much for your service. Thank you for coming out and sharing your story. It's quite an adventure you had. And thank you for your service.
Thank you. May God bless you.
God bless you as well, sir. And I want to thank you, the viewers, for tuning in and watching this Fireside Chats with Veterans show. I want to say thank you to Ben Lohman for making it possible to do these shows. Thank you to the Rotary Club of Sparta. I want to encourage everyone to check out the new Veterans Park in downtown Sparta when you get a chance. And I want to thank every veteran that's watching. I want to thank the current active duty service members. And have a good afternoon. Thank you.